Hi folks, William Stillman, psychic medium. We are finally, after a long hiatus, back in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And I am here this time with Greg Lauer, and I will allow Greg to introduce himself in just a moment. I do want to thank everyone who has been watching our previous videos, who have been commenting, and I especially want to thank those of you who have taken such an interest in my work as to reach out and to send to me some of your very unusual and very interesting photographs of unexplained anomalies that you have taken out in Gettysburg. So that's been interesting to look at. To the folks who have also left comments to the effect that you have been incredulous that I don't know anything about where I am or how could I not know what happened. I just, with no offense to any historians, I want to tell you that this just isn't my thing. Like, I appreciate the history of the Civil War, but it's not something that I myself would have researched on my own. So my interests lie elsewhere, so I can assure you that I have no idea where Greg will be taking me today. And it's never dull. What can I say? So Greg, I'll let you tell folks who you are and what you're about.
Okay, thank you, Bill. It's good to be here. As Bill mentioned, my name is Greg Lauer. I'm originally from Biglerville, which is about 8 miles up the road. I live in Kentucky currently and made the trip this weekend just to be here and enjoy the surroundings. I guess I best classify myself as a battlefield enthusiast and an amateur historian. I don't have any books that I've written or anything along those lines, but I love this place. I grew up here, could see the monuments from my parents' backyard, even if it was 8 miles away. So I'm really glad to be here, and I'll do my best to affirm what comes about today. Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
We're rolling. All right. So we're in a new locale.
Yes.
Here, and lots of twisting, turning roads to get back here. I have no idea where we are, but I do want to tell you, and I don't know if this is pertaining to after what may or may not have happened here, and again, I have no idea where we are, but I do, Greg, feel a tremendous sense of serenity here. I feel a tremendous sense of calm and a peace, almost like everything has been reconciled. I don't know if this is making any sense whatsoever, but I'm feeling like everything's okay now. Everything's as it should be, and it's all behind us. And maybe I'm picking up on something on some other kind of level here, connected to whatever went down here. Particularly if there was, again, some very intense, very violent interactions here. Help me out here. Is any of this making sense?
Oh yeah, no, very much so.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So again,
yes.
This area feels like maybe among the worst or most violent or most intense of the exchanges, where again it's hand-to-hand combat. I'm seeing a lot of blood.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Do you know it has a smell?
What does? Or
yeah.
Is that right?
It's interesting because previously I had been tasting it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Now I'm smelling it because there's that much. It's really interesting, but it's really interesting because I know that people have various schools of thought about the ghosts, quote unquote, of Gettysburg, and my opinion is that there are no souls here still, that there are no human souls here still. I'd like to think that this many years on, that they have all found a way to transition to the heavenly realm or the spiritual dimension, whatever you choose to call it. But I do believe, because of the extreme violence and the anxiety and the intensity of the emotions, and it's occurring within a very compacted period of time, that all of that has been impressed or imprinted on the environment. And that on occasion, under the right conditions, some of that gets released into the atmosphere and it replays like a little video snippet.
Sure.
So perhaps what I'm picking up on, this sense of tranquility, is it's okay. Everything's all right now. Everyone has found a way to get to where they need to be, and what happened here was in the past. I feel such an extreme anxiety about what occurred here previously that I feel like I might throw up.
Really?
Yeah. And I also feel as though there were some very young boys that were here as well who had never encountered anything like this at all. And for them in particular, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if you had said there were accounts of like some of these boys vomiting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So,
yeah, this is all making a lot of sense to me.
it is, okay.
Not only as what I understand from the battle here, but even personally.
How so?
The tranquility of this.
The tranquility
Yes.
of the space? Thank you.
For me personally, yes. Always been that way.
When you've come here to this space?
Yep.
Isn't that interesting to me? Yeah. It just feels very, there's a calm. There's a sense of peace, and there's a serenity. It's almost, as I said, again, I'm picking up on something maybe on another level or on a spiritual level. This feels like I think the word I want to use is sacred. Yes. I also wonder if there was a man of high ranking that lost his life here during this particular exchange or encounter, because I'm seeing someone that looks like he would have been, and again, forgive my ignorance, folks, general, or I don't know what the term would be above the general.
General's the
Sergeant.
highest. Yeah.
He was the highest.
The generals are the highest here.
Was there someone of high rank that was killed here, to your knowledge?
There was a brigade commander that was killed almost in this very area.
Where we're standing.
Roughly, yes.
Very interesting to me.
There's
Okay.
an interesting story about him.
So would he have been distinguished then by a certain emblem on his jacket? Would there have been something that would have distinguished him on his clothing? Because that's what I'm seeing. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, all the different ranks had different accoutrements that they would have on them that designate what their rank was.
I also want to ask if there were cannons used here
Yes.
as well. And the reason why I'm asking that is because, believe it or not, and this is terrible, and I apologize for being so graphic, I'm seeing someone's decapitated.
That easily could have happened.
I'm seeing it coming so fast, and there it goes, and it's off. So I don't know if it's an entire head or a portion of someone's head. This is going to sound really strange, but what I'm being shown is the Kennedy assassination on the Zapruder footage, and up like he was almost decapitated. It just like blew, a big piece of his head off. And I'm sorry for being so graphic, but this is what I'm seeing. And I'm wondering if you know if that happened here.
Not directly, but there are accounts all over the place.
Do you know if that happened, or if there was a head injury to that
Yes.
that official
Yes.
that we were just talking
Yes.
about? So that would tie in with what we were just discussing.
Yes.
There was a head injury.
Yes.
Thank you. That's what I was getting.
That's very, very interesting.
That's what I was getting. Yeah. I'm also, bayonets would have been used here also.
Very possibly, yes. It was very
In this
close
exchange.
quarters. Yep.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Boy, there's a real hesitancy about using them. And maybe you can help me out here. It feels to me almost like all of the men, there was a reluctance to use the bayonets as opposed to the gunshot or the cannons. And I have to tell you, and you tell me if this makes any sense from a historian's perspective, it almost feels like using the bayonets is so, it almost feels like it's cheating, and I don't know if that makes any sense, but it feels so personal to be physically running a blade into someone and pulling it back out, as opposed to there's at least some variance of fairness with the cannons or the gunshot, in that it may not kill you, it may just maim you, or you could possibly sidestep it or something. But with that blade coming at you, does any of this make sense to you?
Oh no, there's a lot of accounts where if someone had to witness someone else's demise, they didn't want to do it via bayonet because it's personal. It's right
It's
there.
very personal.
Yeah.
It's very
If
intimate.
you're shooting a cannon that could go 2 miles.
And you don't have to be there to witness it necessarily.
Yeah.
Could they really go that far? 2 miles?
Yeah. There's some at our next stop that weren't terribly accurate at this length, but they could shoot 5 miles.
So remember earlier I was saying I wouldn't have thought, and again, I don't know anything about the type of cannons that they used then, I wouldn't have thought they could have gone very far. But for a cannonball to shoot 2 miles, that's very impressive to me. So I'm also being shown the word dismemberment connected to where we're standing in terms of people losing legs and arms.
Absolutely.
as well.
Yep.
Terrible.
Yep.
Terrible, terrible. And also I'm being shown the word eviscerated. So that what that makes me think of, and maybe this is where the bayonets came in, where someone's just in essence gutted. Terrible. I have to ask, and I don't know if you know anything about this connected to the battle in general, because in the very early morning hours this morning, I had a dream in which I encountered a bear.
Oh yeah?
And the bear was very docile and allowed me to pet it. So I have to ask if there was any bear sightings.
Not that I'm aware of.
And
But there, you know.
do you know if there was a way, if there's any way at all to look into that? Or if there would be any reason why that would have been referenced? Or if the bear would have been symbolic or emblematic of anything or anyone?
I have to look into that. That's going to be a tough one, but we'll look into that. That's interesting, very interesting. I mean,
I'm wondering also, isn't there a state that has the bear as maybe it's as part of its shield?
California has the bear in
California. There wouldn't have been anybody. That would have been uncharted territory mostly by then. I'm not sure what the connection is or if there is a connection, but I thought I'd bring it up.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. That's about what I'm getting connected to this spot.
Well, this is very interesting, and I have to look it up, but I believe it was one of the brigade commanders, and it was either Cross, I think it was Colonel Cross, just a colonel, but leading a brigade. He kind of been overlooked for promotion, and when he was about ready to lead the charge into this direction, the Corps commander, General Hancock, said to him, "You will get your star today," meaning you'll become a brigadier general, 1-star general.
The emblem. Mhm.
And the colonel said, "No, this will be my last fight." And he put on a black bandana. He was always known for wearing a red bandana. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it was red. He always wore a red bandana. He wore a black one that day. Came out here and was hit in the head.
Oh my gosh. So that's what I was picking up. Isn't that interesting? Now, what hit him in the head, do you know?
Probably a musket ball.
Fascinating.
Now, I don't know if you happen to notice, but there are...
I did see there's a lot of monuments.
Yeah,
out
there are
here.
2 cannon up there.
Oh yeah.
There was a line of cannon, and this line was very stretched. They didn't have enough troops to hold this line, so they're plugging holes with artillery. And yeah, they would have been blasting there for sure, but also from other areas around here. And yeah, there's stories of people got shot, and most of the time once you're got shot, you're done. Back then.
Yeah.
There's also a very famous Civil War picture or battle right after the battle. It was taken, they believe, right over in that direction. I believe that's the Rose Farm over there. It was taken right over in that direction, and it's a whole series of lined up dead corpses.
Yeah.
And several of them were disembodied.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
so,
my.
Or a hand laying off to
Oh
the
my
side.
goodness.
It was not pretty, but it was interesting that
How
you were
awful.
Yeah.
Picking up.
And that would have
picking
happened
that up.
right back in that area is where they
Just
believe
not
that photo
far
was
from
taken.
where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly where we drove with that car.
Yes. Interesting though that you're able to validate the initial sense I was getting of a serenity.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying, I've always felt, this was some of the more horrific fighting Back and forth, this field changed hands 6 or 7 times. There were a total of, remember I said when we were at Culp's Hill, they stripped the hill, most of the troops except for one small brigade of about 1,500. This is where they came. They came, well, not necessarily here, but they came over there to replace people that were coming here. There was something like 8 different, 13 different brigades that fought for the Union side and 8 coming in from the Confederates, and it just went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, I've heard this area described as a whirlpool.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to see if there's any connection to bear.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
All right. Thank you.
Very good.